Before you scroll past this message, listen carefully, because this is not random, this is not coincidence, and this is not just another video you clicked out of habit. This is for you, the one who cried in silence, the one who held everything inside while smiling on the outside, the one who felt forgotten, overlooked, and abandoned, because what you're about to hear is something most people will never understand. You cried alone. But God was collecting every tear for a purpose. And no one told you that your tears were not wasted, no one told you that your pain had meaning, no one told you that every night you broke down when nobody was watching was being seen, recorded, and valued by God Himself. And maybe you asked yourself over and over again, why am I going through this? Why does it feel like I'm fighting alone? Why does nobody understand me? But what if I told you that your isolation was not punishment? It was preparation. What if I told you that the very moments you thought you were losing everything were actually the moments God was building something inside you that no one can take away? Because God does not ignore pain, He transforms it. He doesn't waste tears, He collects them, every single one, even the ones you tried to hide, even the ones that fell in the dark when your heart felt too heavy to carry, even the ones you wiped away quickly because you didn't want anyone to see your weakness. God saw it all, and not only did He see it, He kept it, because your tears are not signs of defeat. They are evidence of your endurance. They are proof that you kept going even when everything in you wanted to give up, and you didn't realize it at the time, but every tear was watering something deep, something powerful, something that is about to rise in your life in a way you never expected. Because pain has a purpose when it's placed in God's hands, and maybe you felt like people walked away from you too easily, like they didn't fight to stay, like they didn't see your worth, like they didn't understand your heart, and that broke you. It hurt more than you can explain, because you gave your loyalty, your time, your energy, and your love, and still ended up alone. But what you didn't see was that God was removing people who could not handle the level He is taking you to. He was clearing space for something greater, something aligned, something real, because not everyone is meant to go where you are going. And yes, it hurt, yes, it felt unfair, yes, it left you questioning everything, but that pain was protection in disguise, and while you were crying over what you lost, God was preparing you for what you're about to receive, and erase the truth that will change everything. The deeper your pain, the greater your purpose. Because ordinary lives don't require extraordinary tears. The level of pressure you faced was not random, it was designed to shape you, to strengthen you, to prepare you for a future that requires a version of you that can handle more, see more, and endure more. And right now you might still feel tired, you might still feel like you're carrying scars that haven't fully healed. You might still have nights where the memories come back and the emotions hit you all over again, but don't mistake your healing process for weakness. Don't think that just because you still feel something that you're not growing, because healing is not instant, it's a process, and every step forward matters, even the small ones, even the ones no one notices, because God notices. God sees every effort you make to keep going, every time you choose not to give up, every time you choose to stand back up after being knocked down. And let me tell you something powerful. The same tears you cried in private are about to turn into blessings in public. The same pain that made you question your worth is about to reveal your value. The same moments that made you feel broken are about to show just how unbreakable you really are. Because God doesn't just restore, He multiplies. He doesn't just heal, He elevates. And what's coming into your life will not just replace what you lost, it will exceed it. It will shock you, it will make you realize why everything had to happen the way it did, and one day you will look back at your pain and you will understand that it was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to define you, to shape your strength, to reveal your resilience, to prepare you for a life that requires a stronger, wiser, and more powerful version of you, and that version is already forming, even now, even through the struggle, even through the confusion, even through the waiting. Because the waiting season is not empty, it's active, it's where God is working behind the scenes, aligning things, fixing things, arranging things that you cannot yet see, and just because you don't see movement doesn't mean nothing is happening, because God's work is often invisible before it becomes undeniable, and when it finally shows up in your life, it will make sense, it will hit different, it will feel like everything suddenly clicked into place, and you will realize that every tear had a purpose. Every delay had a reason, every loss had a lesson, and every moment of pain was leading you to something greater than you imagined. So don't rush your process, don't compare your journey, don't lose faith just because it's taking time, because what God is preparing for you cannot be rushed, it has to be built, it has to be aligned, it has to be ready for you, and you have to be ready for it, and you are closer than you think, even if it doesn't feel like it. Even if nothing around you looks different yet, something is shifting, something is changing. Something is about to break in your favor, and when it does, you will understand why you had to go through everything you went through, you will understand why the nights were so heavy, why the tears wouldn't stop, why the silence felt so loud, because it was all part of the process, it was all shaping you into the person who can handle the blessing that's coming, and listen carefully. God never collects tears without releasing purpose, He never allows pain without planning restoration, and He never lets you go through something without bringing something greater out of it, so hold on, even when it's hard, even when it feels like too much, even when your strength feels low, because you are not alone, you were never alone, God was there in every moment, in every tear, in every silent cry, and He is still with you now, working, building, preparing something that will change everything, and soon, very soon, you won't just be surviving. You will be thriving, you won't just be healing. You will be rising, and the same story that once made you cry will become the story that inspires others, the same pain that once broke you will become the power that defines you, and the same tears you cried alone will become the proof that God was working all along. Even when you couldn't see it, before you think it's over. Listen again, because what you went through was only the beginning of what God is about to reveal in your life, and if you thought your tears were heavy before, wait until you see what they were actually building inside you, because you cried alone. But God was not finished, He was just getting started, and there were moments when you felt completely empty, like everything had been taken from you piece by piece, like your strength was fading, like your faith was slipping, like you were holding on by the thinnest thread, and no one could see it, no one could feel it, no one understood the silent battles you were fighting every single day, but God did. He saw the exhaustion behind your smile, He heard the prayers you couldn't even put into words, He felt the weight you were carrying even when you acted like you were fine, and while the world saw you as quiet, distant, or different, God saw you as chosen, because not everyone can carry the kind of pain you carried and still keep going, not everyone can break down and still get back up like nothing happened, not everyone can feel that level of hurt and still choose not to become bitter, and that's what makes you different. That's what sets you apart, that's what makes your story powerful, because you didn't let your pain turn you into something you're not, You didn't let your suffering destroy your heart, you didn't let your tears define your future, even when it felt like everything was falling apart, you kept moving, even if it was slow, even if it was messy, even if it didn't make sense at the time, you kept going, and that right there is strength that most people will never understand. Because real strength is not loud, it's not obvious, it's not always seen, sometimes it looks like silence, sometimes it looks like endurance, sometimes it looks like choosing to survive one more day when everything inside you wants to quit, and you did that, over and over again, and you didn't realize it, but every time you chose to keep going, you were stepping closer to something greater, something bigger than your pain, something that will make everything you went through worth it, and here's what you need to hear right now. Your story is not ending in pain, it's transforming into purpose, because God doesn't bring you this far just to leave you in the dark. He doesn't allow you to go through so much just to abandon you at your lowest. He finishes what he starts, and if he allowed you to experience the storm, it's because he already planned your survival, your growth, and your breakthrough. And yes, there were nights when you questioned everything. Nights when you felt like giving up, nights when you wondered if things would ever change, nights when the silence felt louder than your prayers, but even in those moments, God was working, even when you felt stuck, He was moving things behind the scenes, even when you felt forgotten, He was preparing something that will make you feel seen in ways you never imagined, and soon you're going to realize that nothing you went through was random, every delay, every disappointment, every heartbreak, every tear had a purpose, and that purpose is about to reveal itself in a way that will shock you, because what's coming is not small, it's not ordinary, it's not something you can predict, it's something that will exceed your expectations, something that will make you say, "Now I understand," something that will show you that God was never ignoring you, He was protecting you, He was preparing you, He was positioning you for something greater, and you had to go through what you went through to become who you are now, because the version of you before would not have been able to handle what's coming next, but now you're stronger, now you're wiser, now you see things differently, now you don't trust easily, now you value your peace, now you understand your worth, and all of that came from your pain, all of that came from your tears, all of that came from the moments you thought were breaking you, but were actually building you, and let me tell you something that will shift your mindset. The same people who overlooked you will not recognize you when God is done with you. The same situations that made you feel small will not have power over you anymore. The same struggles that once controlled your emotions will no longer define your reality, because you are stepping into a new phase, a new level, a new version of yourself that is not tied to your past, not limited by your pain, not controlled by your fears. And this transformation didn't happen overnight, it happened through every tear, every struggle, every moment you thought you wouldn't make it, and that's why it's powerful, that's why it's real, that's why it cannot be taken away from you, because it was earned through endurance, it was built through pain, it was shaped through faith, and now it's time for the reward, now it's time for the breakthrough, now it's time for you to see why everything had to happen the way it did, and when it finally comes, you will not just feel happiness, you will feel understanding, you will feel clarity, you will feel peace, because you will see the full picture, you will see how every moment connected, how every tear mattered, how every delay had a reason, and how God was guiding you the entire time, even when you couldn't see it, even when you didn't feel it, even when you doubted it. He never left, He never stopped working, He never stopped believing in you, and that's why you're still here. That's why you didn't break completely, that's why you didn't lose yourself entirely. Because something inside you kept holding on, something inside you refused to give up, something inside you believed that there was more, and that something was God's presence in your life, guiding you, protecting you, strengthening you, even in your weakest moments, and now you're standing at the edge of a breakthrough you didn't even realize was coming, and when it hits, it will hit differently. It will feel like a release, like a shift, like a moment where everything suddenly makes sense, and you will no longer question why you cried, because you will understand that your tears were not a sign of weakness. They were the beginning of your transformation. Before you skip this, understand this is where everything changes, because what you are about to hear is the part most people never reach, the part where the pain stops controlling you and the purpose starts revealing itself, because you cried alone. But now God is about to show you why, and this is not just motivation, this is a shift, this is the moment where your story begins to turn in a way you didn't expect, because all those nights you spent overthinking, all those moments you replayed in your head wondering what you did wrong, all those times you blamed yourself for things that were never your fault, God was watching, and more than that, He was correcting. He was separating truth from lies, He was removing the weight that never belonged to you, because some of the pain you carried was never yours to begin with, it came from other people's actions, other people's choices, other people's inability to value you the way you deserved, and you took it personally, you let it sink into your heart, you let it shape how you saw yourself. But now God is breaking that illusion, now He is showing you that you were never the problem, you were just in the wrong environment, surrounded by people who could not see your worth, and that's why it hurts so much, because you kept trying to give your best in places that were not meant for you, you kept pouring your energy into situations that were draining you, you kept holding on to people who were letting go of you, and every time it happened, it left a mark, it left a scar, it left a question in your mind asking, why am I not enough? But hear this clearly. You were always enough, you just weren't meant to stay where you were, and God allowed those situations to break apart because they were limiting you, they were keeping you small, they were holding you back from the life that is actually meant for you, and yes, it felt like loss, yes, it felt like rejection, yes, it felt like failure, but in reality it was redirection, it was alignment. It was God closing doors that you were too attached to walk away from, and now you are standing in a place where things feel uncertain, where you don't fully know what's next, where you're still healing from what happened, where you're still trying to make sense of everything, but this is the exact place where transformation happens, this is the space where God rebuilds you, not into who you were, but into who you are meant to become, stronger, wiser, more aware, more grounded, and more aligned with your purpose, and this version of you is different. This version of you doesn't chase validation, this version of you doesn't beg for attention, this version of you doesn't stay where you are not respected, because now you see clearly, now you understand deeply, now you recognize what is real and what is not, and that clarity came from your pain, it came from your tears, it came from your experiences, and that's why it's powerful, because no one can take that understanding away from you, it's yours, it's earned, it's real, and now something new is about to begin, something that matches the growth you've gone through, something that aligns with the person you are becoming, and it may not look like what you expected, it may not come in the form you imagined, but it will feel right, it will feel peaceful, it will feel different, because it will not come with confusion, it will not come with chaos, it will not come with doubt, it will come with clarity, with stability, with a sense of knowing that this is where you are meant to be, and when it arrives, you will realize why everything before had to fall apart, why certain people had to leave, why certain plans didn't work out, why certain doors stayed closed, because if they had worked, you would have stayed in a place that was not meant for your future, you would have settled for less than what you deserve, you would have missed out on something greater that was waiting for you. And God was not going to let that happen, so He allowed the discomfort, He allowed the heartbreak, He allowed the confusion, not to hurt you, but to move you, to shift you, to prepare you for what is next, and now you are closer than ever, even if it doesn't feel like it, even if things still seem unclear, even if you're still waiting for that one sign, that one moment that confirms everything. It's coming, and when it does, it will not be subtle, it will not be small, it will be undeniable, it will be something that changes your perspective completely, something that makes you stop and say, this is it. This is why I had to go through everything, and in that moment, all the tears, all the pain, all the confusion will finally make sense, not because they were easy, but because they were necessary, they were part of your process, part of your growth, part of your journey, and now you are stepping into a new chapter, a chapter where you are no longer defined by what hurt you, but by what you overcame. A chapter where you are no longer controlled by your past, but guided by your purpose. A chapter where you are no longer just surviving, but finally starting to live, to grow, to rise, and this is only the beginning, because what God is about to do in your life will not just impact you, it will impact others. Your story will become a source of strength for someone else, your journey will inspire someone who feels the way you once felt, your transformation will show others that it is possible to come out stronger, to come out better, to come out with purpose, and that's why your pain was not wasted, that's why your tears were collected, that's why your journey matters, because it is leading to something bigger than you can see right now, something greater than you can imagine, something that will prove once and for all that you cried alone. But God was working the whole time, and now it's your time to rise. Before you think you've heard it all. This is the part that hits the deepest, because this is where everything you went through starts revealing its final meaning. This is where the pain, the waiting, the silence, the tears all come together into something undeniable, because you cried alone. But now God is about to reward your silence in a way no one can ignore, and this is not just another phase, this is the shift you've been unknowingly preparing for, this is the moment where everything begins to turn in your favor, even the things that once worked against you, even the situations that once broke you, even the people who once doubted you, because when God steps in, He doesn't just fix things quietly, He changes the entire direction of your life, and suddenly what didn't make sense before will start to align, doors that were once closed will begin to open, opportunities you never expected will start to appear, and the peace you've been searching for will finally find its way into your heart, not because life suddenly became perfect, but because you became stronger, wiser, and more aligned with who you are meant to be, and now you will start to notice something different about yourself. You will start to feel a sense of calm that you didn't have before, a sense of clarity that replaces confusion, a sense of control that replaces chaos, and that's because you are no longer the same person who cried in those dark moments, you are someone who has been refined by pain, someone who has been shaped by experience, someone who has been strengthened by everything that tried to break you, and now the things that once affected you will no longer have the same power over you. The opinions that once hurt you will no longer matter, the rejection that once made you question yourself will no longer define you, because you see differently now, you understand differently now, you value yourself differently now, and that shift is powerful, because once you change internally, everything around you begins to change externally, and this is where people will start to notice. This is where the same people who overlooked you will begin to see you differently. This is where the same people who doubted you will start to question themselves. This is where the same people who walked away will start to realize what they lost, but by then, you won't need their validation anymore. By then, you won't be looking back, because you will be too focused on what's ahead, too focused on the new life that is unfolding in front of you, and erase the truth. God doesn't just restore what was broken, He replaces it with something better, something stronger, something that aligns with your growth, and that's why what's coming into your life will feel different. It will not come with confusion, it will not come with instability, it will not come with constant questioning, it will come with peace, with clarity, with a sense of certainty that you didn't have before. And that's how you will know it's from God, because what comes from Him doesn't bring chaos. It brings alignment, it brings understanding, it brings a deep sense of knowing that this is right, and as you step into this new chapter, you will begin to see just how far you've come. You will look back at the version of yourself who was crying alone, who felt lost, who felt broken, who felt like giving up, and you will realize that you are not that person anymore. You are someone who survived, someone who endured, someone who overcame, and that realization will give you a kind of confidence that cannot be shaken, a kind of strength that cannot be taken away, because it was built through real experiences, through real pain, through real growth, and now nothing can break you the way things used to, because you've already faced your hardest moments and made it through, and that's why what's ahead of you is not something to fear, it's something to step into boldly, something to embrace fully, because you are ready now. Ready for the blessings, ready for the opportunities, ready for the life that God has been preparing for you behind the scenes, and when it finally unfolds completely, it will not just feel like success, it will feel like purpose, it will feel like fulfillment, it will feel like everything you went through finally led you to where you are meant to be, and that is something no one can take away from you, no one can replace, no one can replicate, because it is your journey, your story, your transformation, and it all started with those moments when you cried alone, those moments when you felt like no one was there, those moments when you thought nothing was happening, because in those exact moments, God was doing His greatest work, shaping you, preparing you, aligning everything for this very season, and now that season is here, now that moment is unfolding, now that breakthrough is closer than ever. And you are no longer the person waiting in pain, you are the person stepping into purpose, stepping into power, stepping into the life that was always meant for you, and this is where it all comes together, this is where the tears turn into testimony, the pain turns into power, the silence turns into strength, and your story turns into something that not only changes your life, but inspires others to believe that even in their darkest moments, even in their lowest points, even when they feel completely alone, something greater is happening behind the scenes, something that will one day make everything make sense, just like it did for you, because you cried alone. But God was writing a story that the world will not be able to ignore.